Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be back once more with you. I'd like to give a quick reminder of some events happening later this week, beginning tomorrow, Wednesday, January 31st, running through Friday, February 2nd. The Southern Farm Show will occur and be ongoing in Raleigh. The Southern Farm Show is at the State Fairgrounds, just off of Hillsborough Street. And this is an event that has been going on since the late 1970s. It's very anticipated with particularly our farming sector and rural people, but there's something there for everyone, and admission is free. So I hope those of you who are inclined will visit the Southern Farm Show and see what's there and take in what they are showcasing on this event. I have a report this morning that is from the State of Agriculture regarding 2023 that Commissioner of Agriculture Steve Troxler recently gave to a group of people at an agricultural forum. This is what he said. North Carolina agriculture had a big year in 2023, including a big economic impact gain, as well as budget investments in farmland preservation and key production and manufacturing areas. North Carolina Commissioner Steve Troxler kicked off the year with good news for the state during this recent 2023 agricultural forum. Troxler told attendees he remained optimistic about the future of North Carolina agriculture and agribusiness. However, with rising inflation and increased costs, he worried about people being able to afford it. He also noted that 135,000 moved to North Carolina in the past year, ranking the state at number 3 in the nation for population migration. Urban areas like Raleigh and Charlotte were ranked 2nd and 6th, respectively, for population growth. Energy resources will be strained by the state's increasing population growth, Troxler said, while also mentioning the recent rolling blackouts that hit portions of the state back in December. He also mentioned the possible political ramifications for agriculture due to new residents coming in from out of state who have no grasp of the importance of farming in the state. Agriculture is North Carolina's top industry and accounts for 1/5 of the state's workforce, and an economic figure of $103.2 billion for 2023 for agriculture and agribusiness in the state, unveiled by the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services recently in May, this past May. This phenomenal figure of $103.2 billion was acknowledged and heralded, I guess we would say, back in May. So we've been enjoying talking about that for about 6 months. Back to Commissioner Troxler, his words are, when I took office in 2005, the economic impact of agriculture and agribusiness was like 59 billion, and 100 billion seemed like a good goal to work toward. In 2016, I made a prediction that North Carolina's agriculture and agribusiness industry would soon reach $100 billion. Troxler said in a press release on the economic impact figure. I'm proud to say that we reached that goal and surpassed last year's economic impact by more than 11%, said Troxler. Reaching this milestone is a big accomplishment for everyone in agriculture and agribusiness, and proves how much we can accomplish when we are all pulling together. Troxler is the state's second longest serving agriculture commissioner and only Republican to serve in that role. He looks to extend his 18 years in office, having filed for re-election in 2024. The state's longest serving agriculture commissioner was Democrat James Graham, who served 36 years from 1964 to 2000. The 2023 Appropriations Act passed by the General Assembly also held good news for agricultural interests in the state, with agriculture and natural resource priorities, investments of more than $363 million. Overall, I am pleased with the 2023-2024 state budget, and I am grateful for the legislature's continued investment in and support of agriculture, agribusinesses, and our farmers, Troxler said in an email statement to North State Journal. He continued, specifically, that includes $25 million in funding for farmland preservation efforts, which I believe is critically needed, $20 million in the stream flow rehabilitation assistance program, which is focused on reducing downstream flooding from tropical storms and hurricanes, $20 million for the North Carolina Agriculture Manufacturing and Processing Initiative, a new project to attract and facilitate more agribusiness development, and nearly $8 million in funding for our agricultural research stations. The topic of farmland preservation has been a key issue for Troxler throughout his 18-year tenure as the state's Agriculture Commissioner. Under the 2023 Appropriations Act, farmland preservation was allotted $10 million in year one and $15 million in year two in non-recurring funds in the Appropriations Act. Troxler said during the 2023 forum that North Carolina is predicted to be second in the nation for potential farmland loss by 2040, per a report by the American Farmland Trust. The North Carolina Chamber held its Ag Allies Conference. Excuse me, I'm sorry. The NC Chamber held its Ag Allies Conference in early October this past year, which covered agribusiness and farmland issues. This year's keynote speaker was Agritech Capital President Aidan Connolly. His presentation, Ag of the Future, included Connolly's vision of what he calls agri-food and evolution. Connolly's remarks included the need for integrating data-driven techniques in farming to aid the increasing demand for food products using tools such as tablets, robots, and other computerized technology. Recently in November, Troxler's office opened up applications for farmland preservation grants funded by the North Carolina Agricultural Development and Farmland Preservation Trust Fund. Also in November, a new strategic initiative called NC Ag Leads was formed to support and the state's agriculture industry and identify, educate, and strategize outside factors that could impact North Carolina. NC Ag Leads is a partnership between the Gold Leaf Foundation, the North Carolina Chamber Foundation, and the North Carolina Farm Bureau and Google. So good things are happening on the agriculture issue, and we look for a continued presentation of good things from our agricultural sector. But as we enjoy thinking about the success and progress of agriculture and these various issues, we're also facing a big threat concerning the loss of good, tendable agricultural land. So much of it is being turned into housing and subdivisions and things of this nature, and it's happening in a big way, particularly here in North Carolina. So Commissioner Troxler has continued to hold forth on advocating for the for keeping our land that is tendable and reducing the aggression of development. Farmland loss, a pressing concern for our North Carolina Commissioner. North Carolina ranks number 2 in the nation behind Texas in the probability of the loss of farmland to development between now and 2040, according to the American Farmland Trust. The loss ranges from about 1.4 million acres to 1.6 million acres. Of all the issues North Carolina Agriculture Steve Commissioner Troxler deals with every day, none may be more pressing than the rapid loss of farmland to development. The alarming thing is American Farmland Trust. It says North Carolina ranks number 2 in the nation behind Texas in the probability of the loss of farmland between now and 2040. And it ranges from about 1.4 million acres to 1.6 million acres. We're sitting on about 8 million acres, that is, of farmland in North Carolina. So it's a pretty big percentage of loss if it all happens. The one thing I know is we can't continue to grow this industry if we don't have the natural resources available to do it. Unfortunately, or fortunately, farmland is very attractive for development. Most of the time it's been clear, it's the best land. We've got a real problem, it's no question. Troxler said in an interview with the Southeast Farm Press magazine. That's why farmland preservation remains a top priority for North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, and it's a key issue for Troxler, who was sworn into his first 4-year term as Agriculture Commissioner in 2005. I guess it's because I've lived in the shadow of Greensboro all my life, and that's where my farm is, and I have seen the development take place. When I was farming, at the height of my farming career, I think I was operating 11 farms, including my own, and today I think 5 or 6 of those farms are fully developed and covered up with rooftops. He said, I see it and I feel it. They are the words of Commissioner Troxler. Troxler hopes the Department's Ag Development and Farm Preservation Trust Fund will help reverse the loss of valuable farm and forest land in North Carolina, and he hopes funding for the program will become a bigger priority for the North Carolina General Assembly. The trust fund has done some amazing work. We actually have protected about 30,000 acres. We celebrated that this year, but when you look at how much we're losing, that is land, we're not doing nearly enough, and it's a function of money. With land prices like they are, it takes a lot of money to protect the farmland and forest land as well. It's a big priority in North Carolina, and this is something we look ahead to improving. Troxler notes that the leadership of the legislature has continually supported funding of the trust fund, but not at the same level as the funding of other trust funds in the state. There is a rub between development and agriculture when it comes to the development of these lands. In a lot of cases, a realtor will look at a piece of property and visualize a commercial building or a big subdivision. I look at a piece of land and I see a cornfield and a soybean field and a wheat field, Troxler says. I don't want it to get to the point that we're all like the states that have very robust farmland preservation programs, and the reason is they have lost all their farmland. Some of the states are spending a tremendous amount of money. I remember being told that New York State has a really good program because they figured out if they didn't protect their farms in upstate New York, New York City was not going to have clean drinking water. States with robust programs have lost a tremendous amount of farmland. Moreover, loss of farmland and forest land to solar panels remains a concern of the Agriculture Commissioner. He says it's an issue that must be addressed. I wish we could do it over. I think we could have had the same size solar industry in North Carolina that we have now had we been more careful about where we placed these facilities. But once again, it goes back to farmland being attractive because it's clear and most of the time fairly flat, Troxler says. It's hard to get a realistic figure on how much we have lost, but a few years ago, and there's been a lot of development since then. But we did a backwards calculation based on kilowatts of output at the time that came up with 45,000 or 46,000 acres. I am sure that has greatly increased since that period of time. It's a problem, and it's something that we need to look at in the future, where we put these solar facilities and not do damage to the natural resources. Farmland preservation was a key topic in North Carolina. Commissioner Troxler at the annual State of North Carolina Agriculture address delivered during the Ag Development Forum recently. So this is what's going on, and you see that it is indeed a tremendous concern on our commissioner, and he's doing his part to curb this aggression, and we'll see how it unfolds. Once more, I want to remind everyone that the Southern Farm Show will commence tomorrow, January 31st. It will be a good time to be had by all, and I encourage all listening, as you're able, to go and visit it, see the vendors, attend some of the programs and events, and it'll be a great occasion. I see my time has run out. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to visit. I look forward to being with you next week. Have a good week, and God bless.